Yes, sir. Welcome back, riders. Today we're gonna start cutting the car. Let's get right into it. You just see this full thing just completely torn apart from the beginning until now. I am so excited because now the next step to go ahead and get this complete is to basically cut these two brackets out and the strut towers. When those are cut out, we are ready to put in the new cross member, and technically the Coyote motor could finally get in. I cannot believe that I'm actually doing this in my garage, but thanks to you guys, I'm super excited to show you guys the content. But this is essentially what we have here with everything taken out. Lots of rust. Gonna have to take this to the body shop to go ahead and get it all cleaned up as well after we cut it, of course. And then essentially that is it. And then let me go ahead and show you guys how it looks like on the driver's side. And basically the same exact thing here. Very old, and as you can see, lots of rusted through here. This metal is so thin, I don't know exactly how cars did not just bend or twist. Well, technically they did. Nonetheless, we finally got the full disassembly, full 8 hours. It took me 2 days, 4 hours, from 12 to 4 the first day, and then 12 to 4 the second day. And now she's looking pretty good. I might have to take off the fenders here as well as the front fascia. I'm gonna try not to. It'll make things easier, but for now, this is the good old deal. Now that we have all of that information, let's go over the instructions provided by the Rod and Custom Motorsports, as well as the tools. Then we'll wait for Bryce to come over to help out with cutting and welding and all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and see what these packets says. So this packet doesn't necessarily have the instructions to cut the car. However, we're gonna get a good idea of where we need to be in order to move on forward. So Rod and Customs does provide the installation packet of how to get the cross member on. And essentially this is where we need to be. 2 naked beams, and that is it. So that means cutting out the 2 struts that are gonna be right here and right here, as well as the braces that go from here to there and then from there to there, which is what I just showed you. So essentially that's where we need to be in order to install this. And from there, honestly, we could get the Coyote motor in and start to button everything up. And for reference, this is the Rod and Custom cross member that we'll need to put the Coyote motor in. So here are the tools that we're gonna need to get the job done, or at least the tools that I will be using to go ahead and tackle this project. And having the right tools will make the job a lot easier. There are many different ways and tools that you can use to get this job done. This is just what I use, and then after I go through all of these tools, we'll go over like other recommendations that you can get. So we just have some normal basic tools like hammer, pry bar, wrench, monkey wrench, and all that good stuff to get all of those small little bolts out, and just, you know, normal stuff that you'll need in the toolbox. Next, we have a 3/8 impact and a 1/2 inch impact to go and speed up the process of taking those bolts out, and the bigger one is for the bigger bolts, of course. Then we have this small jackhammer to basically separate the metal, the sheet metal, when we get the spot weld cutter, which we have right here, drill with the spot welds. I got the spot welds for about $14 off Amazon. They come with about 14 pieces, but they're reversible, so you have basically 28 spot welds. I'll probably only be using one. There's only about like 20 spot welds on there, so not too bad. And then when the spot welds are drilled out, we'll go ahead and separate the sheets of metal with this jackhammer. Next, we have the angle grinder. You can get this for about like 35 bucks on Amazon as well. This was 120 bucks, and then this was 30 bucks. You could get that for 30 bucks. You could get that for like 60 bucks, and so it's not too bad. But yeah, an angle grinder. You can also use a plasma cutter, which is the most popular form of cutting. This is going to be doing all of the cutting work that we have here. Plasma cutter is a little bit more higher grade, and for the more professional workers, I'm a very novice, will be using the normal cutter with a lot of pads, about like 5 to 10 of these pads, because they will wear out and you'll have to swap them out. Then just a basic wrench set, a breaker bar to get those really stubborn bolts out, and then the really stubborn bolts will soak with PB Blast. So these are all of the tools I will be using to get the job done of cutting the full entire car in my driveway. We got the tools, we got the instructions, now let's get the job done. So I'm still waiting for Bryce to come through. Bryce is Drew's buddy that has been doing the welding and the fabrication. This is a job for more experienced, and as mentioned previously, I'm trying to tackle this on my own. So we're gonna wait for Bryce, but let's go ahead and talk about the motor. The old motor, the 289, finally got it sold, and then the Coyote motor. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about that. Finally got a buyer for the old 289 motor. I am going to miss this thing. She is sold, and she's currently leaking transmission fluid, which is not cool. This is going to a better home. I think that they are building something very similar. Good old 289 finally gone. Thank you guys for the support. Long gone. This thing's so tiny. I can't believe how small this thing is compared to the Coyote motor we're about to fit in. That's why we're gonna have to cut these things. And here's the Coyote motor, still undressed. I do need some parts and accessories to go ahead and install. This is just sitting in my house here. Just wanted to go ahead and show you guys an update. It's just doing just a-okay. But yeah, I do need a little bit of the accessories here. I do have the rest of the components ready to go. I'm gonna go ahead and make a separate video of putting the engine together, closing it up, sealing it up, and then from there we will install this bad boy into the Classic.
Darling,
And here are the final pieces that we got cut out of the Classic right here. Super excited to see this all out. 2 strut tower braces, the under braces, and then that one goes to that strut tower. So essentially 4 pieces is all we needed to get to this point, which, as you guys have seen, we now have our problem with rust, which is very, very common, yet we're going to work around this. There's still some stuff that we have to do. Bryce will be bringing out a sander, basically to sand this all out. Then he's also going to bring some sheet metal to cut and then weld on so that we have a nice sturdy foundation to then weld on the Rod and Custom Motorsports cross member, which is going to allow us to plant the Coyote motor inside here. But as you guys could see, we have lots of rust along this full way and a lot of dirt and debris within that as well. So the next video, we will go and clean this all up, shave it down, weld on new sheet metal, and then put the cross member. Once when the cross member is on, we could then install the full installation of the suspension. Once when the suspension is on, you can also put the motor in as well. So we'll probably be doing a 2-in-1 type deal of just getting the Rod and Customs cross member on, and then we'll make separate videos with the suspension and then dropping the motor in and hopefully firing it up once when we connect the fuel cell and the full fuel system. So that is what we have here for today. Lots of work, and I'm super excited that we're finally getting this on. Big shout out to Bryce that has been a huge help for cutting this full thing. It's definitely something that I couldn't have done in the beginning, but watching him now, I think I could go and possibly do it. Honestly, having that angle grinder really did help out, and that jackhammer I think was probably the most important tool that we had to separate the metal. But basically we have our start. This is the full start that we have to get the full Coyote in, and I couldn't be happier to get to this point. This is crazy. I would have never thought that I would get to the cutting of the full car, which is nerve-wracking. This is the hardest part of building the front end conversion Coyote Swap. Once when this is all done, it's pretty much all downhill from there. And as mentioned throughout the full Beverly build series, we have the hood right here kind of crammed in my garage because there's literally nowhere else to put it, but we have a lot of names to go ahead and fill out. We're probably gonna get half of this hood done. Thank you guys so much for helping out with the build, whether it be getting some merch, providing parts, providing information, providing any type of value to this build gets your name on the hood. So then when we pop open the hood and see the Coyote underneath this classic, we'll see everybody that has contributed to the build. So let me go ahead and add all of the listed names. It's been a while since I've added some, but we're gonna make sure that everybody gets their names. And if I missed you, make sure to reach out either on Instagram or on email. We'll make sure that your name gets on this hood. So let's get right to writing. Shout out to everybody here on this list. We pretty much have about half of the hood all filled out. Thank you guys so much for everybody on this hood so far. We're getting very close to the full, and then we're gonna have to squeeze everybody in once when that is all done. But we'll take it one step at a time. Thank you guys so much again for this opportunity.